let's go back and briefly look at the original hoax and where the Dragon Ball AF story began. So we're going to run through this pretty quickly because I have covered this briefly in the past. This entire AF hoax began with a famous picture which was passed around the internet for such a long time and fooled so many people of what was referred to at the time in the late 90s as Super Saiyan 5 Goku. And people on the web claimed to have authentic sources in Japan that had episodes and things like that of a series that didn't even exist called Dragon Ball AF. But when you mix that with somewhat convincing fan art and people who have no connections in Japan, then you could see why folks were fooled. To the point where Kanzenshu even did an April Fool's prank one year where they claimed to have footage of AF, get it? April Fool's AF. But it wound up being just a prank, bro. At the time, Kanzenshu was called Daizenshu EX, and they knew it wasn't real, but they wanted to screw with you on April Fools. So what is the real story behind that supposed Super Saiyan 5 Goku or whatever? It was revealed years later that the picture didn't even come from Japan. The image actually came from a magazine, a video game magazine in Spain called Hobby Consolas. And it was just fan art that was submitted to the magazine by a man named Daniel Montel Franco. And Mr. Franco would write Dragon Ball AF in the lower right corner of the picture, and thus people on the internet took that as it standing for Dragon Ball After Future, a new series to happen after GT featuring Goku ascending into godhood. That's right. They had a god form for Goku before Toriyama even thought of it. This fake rumor was so big that Funimation themselves had to address it at panels at conventions debunking its existence. That's crazy. That is crazy. The funny part is, the picture isn't even Goku. It's a character known as Tablos. And if you're wondering whatever happened to this guy, well, he's still on the internet. On Instagram, on Twitter, Tablos AF is still putting out fan art, is still putting out fan manga after taking a long hiatus, and still developing his Dragon Ball AF fan fiction. He is the OG creator of Dragon Ball AF, but he would not be the only one. Let's discuss Dragon Ball AF's tie-in to Dragon Ball Super and how Dragon Ball AF helped springboard the career of a very important person, a very important creator for this franchise. Let's talk about doujinshi. Doujinshi literally translates to self-published book, otherwise known as, well, fan fiction, which is a big thing in Japan. Fans of certain franchises create their own manga and actually put it out there. And some companies are okay with it, other companies are not. And as a result of Dragon Ball being over for so many years, and so many Dragon Ball fans wanting more Dragon Ball, they figured, well, let's just make our own. And Dragon Ball AF was the launching pad, the inspiration for a lot of these artists. Now, I would love to cover some of this fan manga in the future, and Dragon Ball In Depth is not really a series where I delve into that kind of stuff. That's more for a separate series down the road. But the reason why we have to talk about this is because it has a huge impact on the future of Dragon Ball in a very weird way. So I'll be honest, I don't know how many Dragon Ball AF mangas there are, because if I were to scour the internet, I could probably find tons and tons of them. But the two that are really well known are from two artists. One of them is Young Gigi, who still draws tons of stuff on his Twitter, all over the web. Very, very talented artist. He did his own version of Dragon Ball AF. And the other one is from a man by the name of Toyble. So sometime in the mid to late 2000s, this guy Toyble starts uploading random fan manga to his blog on a website called Live Door. This fan manga would be Dragon Ball AF, his version of the story, taking some ideas from the original concept art and creating an entirely new story that took place after the end of Dragon Ball GT. Now, some people took that fan manga and put it out there as being legitimately from Toriyama because the dude was a pretty good artist even back then, so a bunch of people believed this fan manga to be official work. But it really wasn't, but it looked pretty damn authentic. And it just became this big thing where fans were adding their own storylines, and there was this big